And then I would like to welcome up on stage the director of the film, Ovidie. Let's start with a applause for everyone that came back. Beside me over here. Then we have Fabrice Puchault, who is head of the Society and Cultural Department at the French-German channel ARTE, which produced the film. Welcome. And then we have two people that we saw in the film, Carl Johan Rehbinder, he's a relationship coach, sex pedagogue and liberal debater. And then we have Pye Jakobsson, the founder of Rose Alliance, which of course is the Swedish sex worker organization. So welcome everyone on stage, and I think we have one mic too little, so we'll have to share the mics. Very, very honored and happy to have you here. I'm gonna move in a little bit so I can see all of you. I've seen the film beforehand, and it was just as painful seeing it now. It's the case and the details are so horrendous that you couldn't make up a film like this if it was a fictional film, because it would be too much. So could you tell us about how you found out about the story and why you wanted to make a film about it?
Well, it was in... It was in July 2013 when Eva-Marree died, when she was murdered. I was working for a newspaper called Metro. I think it's Swedish, by the way.
Yeah.
Metro.
Yeah.
So I was working for the French issue of Metro. And I wrote an article about the murder of Eva-Marree. I was quite surprised because everywhere on Twitter there was this hashtag Justice for Jasmine, and I noticed that there were absolutely nothing in the Swedish press, and I was just wondering why, how come there are demonstrations in front of many embassies, Swedish embassies all over the world, and nothing really in Sweden. So, okay, why? So I wrote this article, but I couldn't stop thinking about this story. And I think it was maybe two years after, maybe in 2015 or 2016, when I was working on a new documentary, I talked about this story to ARTE, and I said, okay, I'm obsessed with this story, and so I decided to meet Zenitha, Eva-Marree's mother, and who's also here. And when I found out that, I was absolutely sure that Zenitha had the custody of the kids. And when I found out that, I think first we talked on Facebook, I don't remember exactly what we said, but when I found out that she wasn't in charge of the kids, that she hasn't the custody of the kids, I was absolutely shocked. And so I started investigating about this.
And how did Fabrice, how did ARTE come into the film?
Well, it's quite simple, you know. Directors are doing films. And so, as we receive, you know, we are not a French channel, and we are not either a Franco-German channel now. We are a European channel with participation from Czechoslovakia, Poland, Italy, Spain, and even England. Maybe not for long. And, but the fact is that, so we received many projects. We worked together with Ovidie when I was previously at documentaries in France 2. And well, ARTE as a European channel, as European interest, and we strongly believe that directors don't need an ID to make a film, and that the way of working of Ovidie, Ovidie's way of working, her connections, ideas, the fact that it's a film not only about Sweden but about stigmatization, and this is not only a Swedish problem, but a problem that we can recognize in all countries also. So, well, the director has a singular, personal view of the world, and so we were convinced about what Ovidie offered us.
So I wanted to just start to, yeah, please add.
To answer to your questions, why I this film. Of course, it's, as Fabrice said, it's about stigma. And I mean, as a former sex worker, I have worked in porn films 20 years ago. So as a former sex worker and as a mother as well, I was obsessed by this one because I couldn't stop thinking about the fact that maybe someone think that I'm not able to be a mother. It's I think it's one of the reasons I did this film.
So I wanted to ask Pye and Carl Johan, Carl Johan. I mean, it's a basic question, but why do you think there is such a stigma regarding sex work in Sweden? Because somehow it's a little bit hard to understand.
I'm not. Is this working? I dropped it on the floor.
Yeah, it's working just fine.
I've been like.
Because it is kind of unique, the attitude towards sex work in Sweden.
I will try not to go into like complete lecture mode here. Folkhemmet, rasbiologi. It's, you know, we have a long history in Sweden of trying to achieve some sort of perfect society, and there are very strict rules and ideas about what this perfect society is, and in order to achieve this perfect society where everybody's, you know, very functional and very contributing in a very, very specific way that is defined, they are willing to do nearly anything. And it's one thing that you slip and you fall out of the, you know, the little beehive where we're all supposed to like contribute. That's all right, as long as you allow yourself to be rescued. But if you say, I don't want to be in your fucking beehive, you can, you know, I'm going to do my thing, you are not forgiven for that. Because that's basically saying, I am an ungrateful shit that don't appreciate what you have been doing for me. So within that setting, the only thing you can do to make all the other little bees behave in a little beehive, I don't know how I come up with a beehive, anyway, is to shame that person, or to like push that person away, to make sure that person doesn't belong, make sure they suffer, so no one else will try it. Really.
Carl Johan, do you have something to add?
One more thing.
Do you have something to add? Why do you think this film is
Yes, there's always things. First of all, I'm really grateful that this film is done, because usually when it comes to these things, I become a bit cynical and bitter, because it's always wiped under the rug and we forget about it. It's just nothing. Because these people who are on, there's so much contempt for people, for human beings in Sweden who are not fitting in the mold, and we're saying the same thing really, but that's really what's going on. We have this consensus addiction in Sweden that everyone has to have the same opinion, and if you are not a part of this opinion, you're a little bit outside of it, then you're suddenly extreme. Extreme means that you cannot be listened to. You don't get any respect if you're extreme. That is not within this beehive that you call it. And I'm happy that this film is made to shake the debate, because I've been against the sex law, the sex purchase law since it was created. I think it's a stupid law, and it just creates, no one has proven that it has helped anyone. It has only created problems. And once, when I talk about it with people, the consensus mechanism comes in, and I say, wait a minute, Amnesty International, UN, Human Rights Watch, it's like, no, we're doing the perfect thing here in Sweden. That really makes me frustrated, because we are treading on people, we're stepping on people. And if I would be like fucking around, having like hundreds of people having sex with, that's fine. But if I charge, then suddenly it's like another side of the world. And why?
So one thing that I'm wondering is when you say which countries that have adopted this, Swedish sometimes called the Nordic model, Norway and Iceland here, and then Northern Ireland, Canada, and then France. And I was just very shocked, like how could a law like that be passed in France? So could you maybe tell us about how that happened and what the attitude around sex work is there?
It didn't pass easily. The debates started in 2013, and the law has been voted in 2016. That's right, 3 years.
Yeah.
And comment expliquer? Déjà même en français c'est compliqué. Qu'en fait il y a eu des allers-retours, c'est le système législatif et qu'il y a eu des allers-retours entre l'Assemblée nationale et le
And
Sénat.
we have like a spontaneous translator here somewhere. Audience, my French is a little bit
In France, it's like in the Senate in the States, you cannot understand. It's in United States, so it goes from the Senate to the Parliament and so on and so on. And it has a number, a very long numbers of navettes, amendments, and way to one of the chamber to the other. And it was quite difficult because, in fact, of course, France, as all the countries in the world, are preoccupied by the fact that mafias in the world are using sex work. It is true, but that sex workers are not necessarily and obviously victims of that. Not all of them. And there are choices that should be defended. And so it was a long, long debate that has, in fact, not even be finished, because now all the human rights, like Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International and Médecins du Monde and Médecins Sans Frontières saying, well, this law is a bit of a problem for the sex workers because it put them in a dangerous, very dangerous situation. And it's not me, it's not Ovidie, it's not, you know, sex work syndicates. It's Médecins du Monde and Médecins Sans Frontières. They know a bit about it.
You want to comment, Pye?
Yeah,
you have it.
Yeah, I'm just going to be very brief, but because whenever a country gets into, like, we're going to look at Swedish model, then they come, they do little visits, a little tour arranged by the Swedish state where they are like shuffling around, and very often they have also met me and Eva-Marree when she was alive, and other members from Rose Lives, and as there's a very clear pattern to what's going on. So this is not a one, you know, the PR campaign on how to push this law is not a one model fits all. They will really go in targeted in each country. So I had a meeting at a British ambassador's residence, my flash lifestyle I'm having, with a high police officer from Northern Ireland and a minister for justice in Northern Ireland. And they were like, this is no fucking way this is gonna pass. They're like, and they're crazy here. They were like, and we've been hearing the same shit over and over again. They're crazy. Then they went back to Ireland. First time the Christian right and Sinn Féin ever voted together, ever, was to get this law passed. So, you know, they push, and it's like using all these like gut feelings and emotions and morals, and you know, if they need to use the church, that's what they use. So it's very targeted for each country. So how they are promoting it and selling it, and they, I mean actually the Swedish government, because they are putting millions into promoting this abroad.
I think it's very weird when preparing a law not to ask the expert organizations and the people within the... Yes, please. Stating the obvious.
One thing I find really interesting is that Amnesty International, who was giving this film an award,
yeah, it was in Thessaloniki Film Festival.
Doesn't mention it here in Sweden. The Amnesty International in Sweden does not even mention this film, even though it had an award from it.
Yeah.
And all these organizations, humanitarian organizations who actually promote decriminalization of sex work, which has been done in New South Wales, Australia, and in New Zealand, and with pretty good results. And we have we have experts on this here in this audience. I will promote Petra Östergren. I just didn't know. I said there are probably more experts, but
I'm here.
Great.
I'm happy to have a room full of actual experts.
But yeah, so talk to them later. But there are examples where they have, as Eva-Marree wanted, like laws to protect workers, not to stigmatize them. And why not here?
So just kind of like a basic, it feels like a lot of people here in the room know what we're talking about, but in a kind of dream situation, two different dream situations. One is that we have to continue to have this law, but something else would be changed, maybe attitudes, the debate, whatever. So that's the first question, what would be the ideal situation? The other one is, what would be the ideal law to have?
Sorry.
Do you want to, yeah?
Well, I was thinking sex worker in Sweden, but you know. Yeah, no, that's fine. Go,
Yeah,
go, go.
well, then we go. I talked both about Sweden and France.
Sex worker France first. Go, go.
Yeah, please, go on.
I think the first thing to do is to ask to sex workers themselves. So,
the first example of keeping this law about making other things change, it's a little bit of a catch-22 situation, because the law is, the principal aim of the law is to change norms and values in society. Which part of what is changed, actually sort of as an afterthought, but you know, is the stigma. So I don't think you can do one.
So the legal effect is not that big, but the kind of moral.
I mean, if you look, if anyone has some extra time, I recommend the prostitution report from '82. The prostitution evaluation, where they started preparing for this law, and it was built in from the beginning. It was like, well, you know, we were poor, miserable women living in some neighborhood where no one else lived, and it was horrible. And then in the second report, we were bad to our children. We were just doing all these drugs, surrounded by all these pimps, and had, you know, the only social contact we have are, oh God forbid, other hookers. And they painted the picture of us as a victim, and it's been going on for decades.
Mm.
So I don't know. I mean, so actually they wanted the attitude to change, or just, you know, how we were going to be seen. That was part of the whole thing. So that was changed before the law was changed. Mm. So I can't really see how you would do it the other way.
No.
It seems a bit difficult. Otherwise, I would say to number 2, decriminalization, which means, very simply, no special laws for the sex industry. We're not that special. Labor rights laws that protect other workers, and all the other laws in society stays, yes, including rape, trafficking, and all those things. Those laws stays in the book, but we are protected by the same laws as everybody else, because these special laws, the pimping laws, all these laws, they are the problem. They are what harms us everywhere in every single country.
Mm. Do you want to add a video about the situation in France? I mean, it seems like there's at least more of a debate going on, maybe also another kind of stigma, or?
So the law has been voted 2 years ago in France, and what I know is that most of the sex workers now have can't work in a safety place. I mean, they are obliged to hide themselves. So it means that they are obliged to do things that they were not used to do, like working without condoms, for example, or they work for less money, less as before. They feel insecure, c'est ça? Voilà.
That they don't have security.
In fact, the last time you've talked about the film, you said that they are not protected at all. In fact, this law is putting them in a dangerous situation. And the purpose of a law in any democratic state in the world is to protect the citizen. Mm-hmm. Does it mean that there are no citizens?
But the law was never about protecting sex workers.
Yeah, but
this law was about protecting values in society. So
I think we say the same.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
And so that's the point. And now there are organizations. I'm just translating what you've said the last time for the Nouvel Observateur. It's the fact that in fact you have not only humanitarian organization and goodwill organization, but professional organization that really take care of the health of the people. I mean, Médecins du Monde, for instance, who put a report saying, hey, the situation is dangerous because of the law. It doesn't mean that the law doesn't have to fight against oppression, alienation, and mobs. But as you said, there are laws for that.
There are laws to use that already.
No. Well, and maybe here it will start with this film. I want to add that it's available free of charge on Vimeo and YouTube. And also when we're ready here and you exit the cinema, there's some copies on DVD if someone still owns a DVD player. So if you want your friends, acquaintances, families to see the film, it's quite possible to do it, which I think we should give a special thanks to the distributor, Njutafilms, because that's a real thing to do, to let a film out for free. So let's talk a little bit more about the film. I want to ask, this is actually both to Pye and, or to all of you, but mostly to Pye and to Ovidie. Eva-Marree was active in Rose Alliance. Do you think that had an effect on the fact that she was treated so unfairly by the social services? Her activism?
I don't so much.
No, but you are Rose Alliance.
Oh, no, I'm not. No, yes and no.
Yeah.
For the not really for the court, because it wasn't dragged up there. However, everything else was. There, she had stripped in Norway, and they by mistake put her real name in an ad, which was hardly her fault. And the list of things the court would like list that had been handed in as evidence were completely bizarre, and everything was about her sex life. Everything.
And nothing about her qualities as a mother.
Nothing. Well, there were like two incidents one incident where one of the children had hurt themselves, and they hang on to that for dear life because it was like the only thing they had. The rest was all about her being a bad mother because of sex work. Did Rose Alliance play in? To a certain degree, yes, because I think it gave her even more guts. She was really gutsy from the beginning, but it gave her even more power. She had people behind her. She had someone to call always. She had people she knew would always be on her side. And I think that very often gave her the energy to go that extra mile. And, for good. I mean, when I look back, she was one of my best friends. And sometimes I think, would it have been better if we didn't give her hope? Or if we didn't, how can I say, install this sense of that you have the right to be proud? Would it have been better if she had said, yes, it was horrible, I'm feeling so ashamed? Not better for her, but would it have helped her? And seriously, I doubt it. Because even if you cross the line, you can't change your mind. Because if you once said, I did this, but I don't regret it. Even if you then say, no, wait, I do regret it. You can do that if you're surrounded by the right people. Like the wonderful social worker that you saw, that everybody now wants to run to and get some help from, that you're talking about how horrible things were. Anyway, but not if you're surrounded by the wrong people, which in this case would be Rose Alliance, definitely. So it's kind of hard. I know we made her life better, and we made her fight harder and be happier in a way. Do I think it helped her? No, I don't. Yeah.
So if you feel, Zenitha, that you are okay with answering, I would really like to know what's happened since you stopped filming. Have you had more communication with the social service? Has anything been going on forward? No. Well, do you want to comment? It would be lovely to hear from you.
I have not had any contact with social services because they have branded me as a terrorist in Sweden. One Swedish television station calls me a terrorist. And they could say I attacked a Swedish law, but now I have attacked Sweden. Because when it stood clear this film was going to be shown here against their will, I suddenly attacked Sweden.
Unbelievable.
So I have no chance. I have no chance more than Eva-Marree had.
Can I just Sorry,
But I have to say to Pye that you meant very much to Eva-Marree. She always talked about you. And she called me up to 6 times a day. And it was Pye this, Pye that. So you really helped her. She wouldn't have survived. She needed you.
Yay, crying in front of people, my favorite thing to do.
Well, this is, I think, a subject that is worthy of many, many, many tears.
Yeah, no, and I also think, what Zenitha was saying now, I remember just, as I found out a few hours after it happened, and we were on the phone the same evening, and we had never met or never talked before this. And we were like, okay, we both knew, it was, and some people were like, well, you're exploiting her death. If I had died, she wouldn't have even let me get fucking cold before she would have done activism about it. So she would have burned me up and dragged me along if she could. So we were very clear, both of us. We knew exactly what she wanted us to do. She wanted us to raise hell. And the first week was so bizarre because so Zenitha in one place and me in the other, we were on the phone with journalists begging them to write about sex work. Please, can you mention she was a sex worker? And nothing. They wrote in like one article that she had been a stripper, but nothing. It was like normally they how the media is, they're like, oh, prostitution, nothing. And we begged them, please, please, please write what's the reason for this, please, nothing. I think that speaks volumes, actually. And welcome to the club of the people there at First Sweden. It's an exclusive, nice little place. Thank you. Yay!
We're proud to belong to them.
Oh, yes.
Please, Carl Johan.
This might sound a little bit like a cliche, but I would say that I haven't seen anything in modern times so close to a witch hunt. But she was the witch. And you were also the witch because you were the mother of the witch.
Of course.
So but the thing about the witch hunts is they actually stopped. So I think that we had to work for stopping the witch hunts. And even though this makes me bitter and sad, I still have an optimism somewhere in here. And the thing that you made this film is so great, gives hope that there is a possibility for change, because everyone who wants to put the lid on, you didn't, you opened it. So I thank you.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask you about your communication with the social services. You wrote in the film that you tried to reach them many times. Obviously, you're a journalist, a filmmaker, but
I mean, not only me, we also worked with a fixing journalist. She tried as well, and they declined. The producers, they tried to contact them, and no. No, they just didn't want to talk to me. No, absolutely.
and they just denied you
No
access,
explanation.
No explanation.
No explanation. Yeah.
Wow. And what about the local community in Västerås, like local papers? Because you said there was a scandal and the director of the social services had to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't this part of that? Then isn't this written about there? Isn't there outrage in the city?
Obviously, something happened at the social services in Västerås. Something happened in Västerås. Something what was wrong. But as I understood, it's more or less the same all over Sweden. So it's not only in Västerås. I don't know, tell me if I'm right.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, and when all this went on, so this was before evil, that authority existed. So the
Can you explain what that is?
IVO is the Gud, det kan någon som har en hjärna kvar säga vad IVO står för. Institutet för... Det är i alla fall där man kan gå in och... you can go in and get individual cases tried and many other things. But at this time it was Socialstyrelsen, the Board of Social Welfare, and the only thing they do is go in and say, okay, you have a problem in your council, this is going on, it's not good. And we know that they looked at, I can't remember now if it was 17, 14 cases, but we don't know which ones. And they don't go in individual cases and put the finger on it. So So all this was happening before, like the year before even was, started, which was a problem. So Västerås were critiqued, we know that, but we don't know the details of it. And we also know, I have the PM, someone smuggled it out for me when the head of the unit, the social service unit, family unit got fired. But it's clear, even from that PM, that it's going to be placed under wraps. It's very discreet, it's very like we are, she was just going to move on, and it was like difference of opinions. And yeah, so it was like really like covered up from the beginning to end, the whole thing.
And we have met someone from IVO, and they explained us that between 2010 and 2011 in Västerås, about 20 families were concerned. Not concerned. No, concerned,
filing complaints.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Can I say something?
please.
It's actually by law, Västerås should have called IVO themselves
Self-reported themselves.
after the murder to be investigated. They never did. I had a report from Swedish radio making a documentary as well. She wasn't able to get hold of anyone in Västerås either, and was very confused because she's from the state's radio. But they locked the door. But she did manage to get the whole of one woman. And that woman said, we don't want to talk about this, we did wrong, but we didn't do it wrong.
How handy.
And that's in the program, so everyone can listen to it. So they didn't report themselves because they didn't see it was necessary, because they hadn't done anything wrong.
How do you go on from here? It's just so mind-blowing, all of this. Trying to stay neutral as a moderator.
Yes.
Please, up there.
My name is Catherine Dagnon. I have a French origin, and I'm so personally moved by this, and I'm so thankful to Zenitha, and I'm thankful for you, for France, that you have the courage for everybody here to show the world how Sweden works, because I'm a person as a victim of this. My son has been taken away from me. He's only 5.5 years old. I have been prosecuted for 3 years by the Swedish government. This is how it works. You cannot say anything in Sweden. They just want you to follow what they say. If you say, but I question this, then you're like crazy, and they revenge by taking your children. This is how it works. So I think you as a journalist really should look into this. My son is being abused physically and psychically. I have proof of this, and nobody wants to look at this because all the lawyers, everybody is corrupt because they are collaborating with this Swedish system of moral. So this is a scandal. This is a European scandal. This is a scandal all over the world. And I know hundreds of mothers that they have the children taken away, and by the state, by the law, by the judge, and given away to the persecutor. This is madness. This is Swedish madness. This is so tragic. I'm so moved, and I thank you all for being here, listening to this truth being revealed. Thank you.
And thank you for sharing your deeply personal story. I'm sorry I'm not a journalist myself, but I will definitely talk to my journalist friends, because I think this is a huge outrage.
Also, please, last sentence, how the social authorities are so powerful. There is a joke going on, but if you have an acquaintance and you want them to get in trouble, call the social police. They don't help you. Just go to the social, you make an anonymous phone call. That's how they did with me. I'm a narcoman, but I'm educated. I have a degree in scholarship, so this is crazy. This persecution, this witch hunt has to stop now, really. Thank you.
And of course the same is with, it's not only sex work, it's of course also the issue about drugs in Sweden and how drugs are treated, but that's a separate issue. But I know from the social services that that's the same. I had a friend being told by social services that they view the fact that she had smoked a joint at home when her child was not there, that's the same as if she was a heroin addict. The social service person said that in the
I
meeting.
just want to make clear, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't
Yeah, of course. But just like the social service seem to have not a very evidence-based modus operandi. So we need to, like, in a couple of minutes, round this up. But I wanted to ask you, Pye, and of course, actually everyone in the panel, and maybe also Petra, what can we as citizens that do not buy into this Swedish model and this moralism regarding sex workers' rights, what can we as citizens do to help the fight?
My normal standard answer would be like, make sure sex workers' voices are heard, blah, 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 blah. But that's like, we can do that in like 270 years. But I would say, when you hear these, when the discussion comes up, when the stereotypes are presented, challenge it. Be a little, please be a little warrior for a little while. We are gathering the troops. It takes us a little time. Tell them about Jasmine or Eva-Marree. Tell them about, what you heard here today. And just fight for us a little bit. It's the best for now.
Having been very much also engaged in politics, among that drug politics, I got very good advice from one person. I was asking, how do you get things to work? Politically, it's like either you learn the subject. You really, really get into it. You learn the subject. You focus on it, not too much, but be expert in the subject so that people cannot, crash you in the debate. And if that's not your thing, support those who do it. So if there are a few fighters, warriors who really like to learn everything about the subject and be out there fight, they need support. Even if it's just a cup of coffee or a drive or, give them some money. But, support the ones who are the fighters. There are no armies without a huge amount of people also fixing food and, doing all the other things. No. So there's need for everyone.
And I just want to add one thing. Just give you a prime example. So when Amnesty International goes in and say decriminalization would be the best thing for sex workers, and all the politicians in Sweden are saying, oh, they are just controlled by the pimping lobby, raise the fingers and that doesn't sound very plausible. I think that's not true. That can go a very long way because the craziness is a bit absurd at times.
Yeah, I would just second what both Pye and Carl Johan says and say that challenge the sources. Really ask for the sources, and look at the evidence of Amnesty International, WHO, all the sex work organizations, all the research out there. Just go to the sources, the research.
Yeah. So sources, not opinions and feelings. So did you want to?
I just wanted to say something about the pimp thing. It was 1 week before the airing, broadcasting airing, before the airing of the film on ARTE. There's an abolitionist association, organization in France. They haven't watched the film, but they said that this film was paid by the sex industry. So let me introduce you my pimp.
I have my golden car just in front of the cinema.
So that was very, very funny for us because ARTE has a very serious image and a very strict image, and so yes, so this film has been paid by the sex industry and the pimp, and it's less funny, but many people say in France that. I was used as an object when I was a porn actress 20 years ago. I was used, I was objectified, can we say that in English? Objectified. And I didn't realize that I was just a slave.
Sorry, I'm going to have to end the discussion. Like, I wanted somehow on a positive note, at least we got some laughs about the pimp. But thank you so much for coming, and thank you for making this extremely important film, and let's go out there and spread the message.
One more thing.
Last words.
When people call you pimp or whatever they call you, because the stronger you are in a debate, people will oppose you and call you all kinds of weird things. Wear them as medals. Take it as compliments.
Yes.
Can you expand?
I also have one thing.
Please.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm giving the last words 5 times. This is actually...
Not only do you sometimes, you get called, or you just work for the lobby or a pimp, sometimes you also get arguments like, well, you only say that because you want to buy sex. Well, you only say that because you wish to sell. They're basically trying to say, I never bought, I never sold sex. I don't have any interest. Of course, in my case, I get a bit double shot because I'm a trans woman, and because of that, they will sometimes use that against me. Well, you only argue against this law because you used to be a man, and that's why you're against. Stuff like that. They always try to do everything they can. So, my experience is just stand very clearly, and you just point out the facts, and you stand very clearly. Don't let yourself get affected when they try to hit you emotionally. That's all I want to say.
Okay, so keep a cold head and continue fighting. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.